Building the right team has taken me 5 years. Since I started my business back in 2006, I have employed more than 65 people, which is crazy. And I know that for some of you, you'll think, oh my God, I don't want to be recruiting and letting go 65 people. But there is method to my madness. Most business owners think about scaling as having a bigger team, but that's not the case. Now we have AI. Now I understand all of these principles that I'm going to share with you in this episode. Building a team is about getting the right people in the right seats. You want to imagine your team like a football team. Every player on that field is exceptional at their position on the pitch. If they're not, they get subbed and benched and they get replaced by somebody else. When you see your team as a sports team and elite, and they train together, play together, want to win together with crystal clear direction, everything begins to change. Now, if I go back to 2009, when I took on my first employee, I made so many mistakes in the early years of recruitment. I always wanted to hire cheap. I didn't want to pay anything at all. I wanted to keep the profit mostly for myself. I wanted to make sure that I reduced my risk because of fear and because of the way in which we were running the business. But what that meant is for 10 years, even though I had a team of 15, I was the first in, I was the last out. I was responsible for all of the different departments in the business. I was doing the advising, the selling, the managing, the meetings, dealing with everybody's first world problems, all of the life problems, all of the different arguments within and amongst the team. And we nearly did have 2 people who went outside and almost had a fight. It was insane. And that was because I just had no clue what to do as a business owner and as a leader. But when I built an almost 7-figure insurance brokerage that I hated and decided to start again because of many things that I've shared with you before, having a niche, content marketing, social media, doing things differently, which I did from 2016 after keeping my PA, I changed the way the whole business works. Now, when I began to recruit, I started to take on self-employed advisors because my mindset really affected me from those first 10 years. I didn't want a team of people in my office again. In 2019, it was me, my PA, and a marketing assistant. And then from that point onwards, my whole goal and my whole brain was, how do I build a team but have everybody working from home? And the obvious option was self-employed advisors working from home, and I just provide them with the leads. So in 2020, just as the pandemic hit, I took on 5 or 6 advisors all in one fell swoop. And I had 1 employed team member in my coaching and training business that we had launched the year before. And right then, my mortgage business, my PA had left. So I actually removed my whole business 3.5 hours away. And it was under the management of one of my advisors who had previously been a Halifax branch manager. So at that point in time, I had 2 employees, 1 in my office for my coaching business and 1 3.5 hours away. And over the course of 2020, we grew our advisor numbers to around about 15 to 17. Again, all self-employed, all working from home. My employed ops person in Evesham, he did recruit 2 or 3 people working underneath him, and we had some employees, but they were so far removed from me, it was crazy. But then I saw challenges in 2021, trying to build a business, improve the marketing, improve the sales with my head office 3.5 hours away. So in 2021, I moved the office as we came out of the pandemic back to Chelmsford, where I'm based. I closed the Evesham office and I recruited an employed ops person to look after the self-employed advisors, working alongside my employed marketing person, assistant in the training and the coaching business, and still looking after all of the self-employed guys. So team of 2 at the end of 2021. As we went into 2022, I was starting to use some freelancers for a variety of different things, from email marketing to video editing to helping out with some podcast production, stuff like that. Again, my mindset was starting kind of still keeping me trapped. We were also still going around about pandemic sort of times, but then I lost my mum, and also my assistant, my marketing person on the coaching side, had decided it was time to move on and to go and test himself after a good few years with me, that I decided to recruit a PA in the middle of the year who was going to look after and basically replace him. I then went and recruited an in-house video marketing person for the coaching and training side of my personal brand. So now, as we go into 2022, 3 employees in my head office looking after clients. And we made a couple of other hires for various different things like outbound telesales, stuff like that, but they just didn't work out or pan out. And that's because I was still recruiting cheaply. As we moved into 2023, I really now began to understand the benefits of hiring the right right peoples, because those cheap employees that I tried to again get in 2022 were nowhere near as good as the experts that I'd hired in the roles that I had them in. So I decided that the mortgage brokerage wasn't as profitable as it could be. You know, having self-employed advisors based up and down the country, I spoke about this on previous episodes, just wasn't working for me now with the knowledge that I had. So I took on an employed advisor and an employed PA to look after those leads in 2023. And I completely changed the way that model worked. Now, as we went into 2024, I made some mistakes. I hired several people, added to the team, lost a lot of people too, and I really learned some lessons. But everything in my whole journey since 2006 has got me to this point. As we're in 2025, I have the strongest team ever. In the coaching business, we have a PA who now has 11 years worth of experience in the financial services space, which has been a game changer for me, but also for my clients because she understands the industry. I've got my video marketing editor who's here today recording this content. That's been a game changer, having someone who specifically just focuses on recording and editing and also putting a lot of time, energy and effort into the long form YouTube stuff. And then also my social media manager who takes care of all of the content and posts it here, there and everywhere, as well as helping our clients, coming up with ideas and making sure that we have got the right assets out there in the big wide world to fundamentally attract and build relationships with new potential clients. In the mortgage side, I've still got my one PA, I've still got my one advisor, I've just added a marketing person as I spoke about a couple of weeks ago, and then I have my 10 to 12 self-employed advisors based up and down the country. So here's my biggest lesson from 60 plus employees and making a number of mistakes, even as close as last year with regard to employment. Hiring cheap for almost 11, 12 years was the wrong thing to do. Focusing on getting apprentices was just the biggest mistake possible. Now, if you have a larger team, apprentices are fantastic. But if you take them on early doors, the biggest challenge is that you're going to be responsible for them, their knowledge, their training, their support. If you go out and hire experts and pay really well, you give them the strategy, you make a plan, and then you get the hell out of the way and let them take action. Let them have autonomy in putting into practice the things that you want done. It's about delegating, not abdicating, but it's fundamentally you hire people to do an exceptional job. Stop micromanaging them and babying them and allow them to get on with it. That's what you should do, and you should set those parameters for really good attention to detail, for making sure that progress is constantly being made. Have a Teams channel where you can have conversation, and then a Trello card for managing projects and communication related to those tasks and tactics, and everything begins to change. You feel like you have control, but equally you don't have control of anything because it's all being done for you. So number one, a good team will cost you more upfront, but it will save you stress. It will save you huge amounts of time. And more importantly, it will save you money in the long run because they will have a direct impact on your revenue, your profit, and your freedom. Number two, hiring specialists and getting out of the way will give you faster growth, because if everything is solely reliant on you, you are the bottleneck. When you allow your team to contribute ideas and to put those ideas into practice, then all of a sudden you have 5 times the amount of knowledge. Therefore, you get 5 times faster growth. Number three, a small team of elite A players will outperform a larger team of B players. I would rather have the smallest team possible, and I even teach my team how to leverage AI so they can get more done in less time. It's not about replacing team members, it's about making team members more efficient. So hire slow, fire fast, build a team to create time, get the hell out of the way, and let them do a better job than you. Remove your ego and everything will begin to change. My advice is you really want to have a team of somewhere between 5 to 10 people. That is a perfect setup to give you good revenue, to give you exceptional profit, to give you fun, to do the things that you really want to do, you know, that 20% that you take great enjoyment and pride in doing, and then everything will be exceptional within your business, from the marketing to the sales to the delivery of your service, and you will get a huge brand recognition and loads of referrals and just a really solid business that will stand the test of time. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying these episodes. I look forward to seeing you next week.